Honorable colleagues, as you are aware, this Constitutional Committee has a mandate to scrutinize the report of the Auditor General for the Federation, which is mandated to submit to the National Assembly concerning the finances of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in every year, detailing the findings of the Auditor General on the management of funds appropriated by the National Assembly, as well as other funds made available to ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government, and report thereon. Today, we have sent out letters about 3 weeks ago to some agencies of the federal government, some ministry, departments, and agencies, to cause appearance before the Public Account Committee to defend the queries raised against them by the Office of the General for the Federation. And like you can see from the notice posted on the committee's group chat, today we were expecting to have the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, which had 6 major queries raised by the General for the Federation against it. The Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, which had 7 major queries raised against it. The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, which had 5 major queries raised against it. And the Federal Ministry of Transportation, which is to come here to answer to 5 queries raised by the General for the Federation. And also we have the Federal Inland Revenue Services, the Makurdi office of the FIRS, which had 1 query raised against it. We have the Federal Inland Revenue Service, the headquarters in Abuja, which had 2 major issues in 2020 and had 17 issues in 2021 report. FIRS Abuja had 17 issues from 2021 Auditor General's report. These are the MDAs that were written to cause appearance before this Constitutional Committee today. And I want to just give an update on the kind of responses we have received from these MDAs. And I'm doing this, honorable colleague, very conscious of one very important fact, and that is the fact that our country has a need to plug all revenue leakages and loopholes. And one of the ways through which this can be done is to ensure that we have effective auditing system put in place, as well as resolution of audit queries by the National Assembly, the Public Account Committee. I also want to put in context, honorable colleagues, that for quite a while now, we have had a lot of instances of members of the public, including the civil society organization, calling out the National Assembly for what they perceived as not doing enough in terms of our oversight and other statutory powers to put MDAs in proper check so that they can deliver on the very good intentions of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and, of course, of the Parliament which appropriate these monies to them. A lot of times, as we have witnessed here, we write out letters to MDAs inviting them to defend audit queries, to respond to issues contained in the report, and you hardly even get responses. I also want to put in context that just last week, our counterpart in the Senate Public Account Committee had to issue some press statements against specific ministry, departments, and agencies of government that have been found to perpetually ignore summons, invitations, requests for documents, as well as invitation for appearance before this committee. So again, this backdrop, I want to report that the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment had been written 7 times Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment have been written 7 times in the last 5 months. And on each occasion, the ministry has shunned those invitations and refused to provide documents in defense of the queries raised against them by the Auditor General for the Federation. And I have to put those issues also in proper context, honorable colleagues. For the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, in the Auditor General's report, is a case of an unaccounted allocation to the Geneva Labor Desk amounting to a sum of 351 million naira. 351 million naira, which was paid to a desk that had its own appropriation already done by the Parliament. Another one is the payment without evidence of execution of projects amounting to 226 million naira. On retired cash advances amounting to 344 million naira. Payment for consultancy service without execution, 7 million naira. Abuse of cash advance policy and regulations to the tune of 338 million naira. Payment for non-existent job center, purportedly executed in three different parts of Nigeria, amounting to 497 million naira. A whole lot of issues, 17 in all. Payment for another contract not executed in Kaduna, 144 million naira. Unsubstantiated contract award and non-execution of contracts, 67 million naira. These are some of the issues to which the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment has been written 7 times in the last 5 to 6 months without they responding or coming to defend those issues. And I want to take these ministries one after the other. I want us to resolve on each of them one after the other. If after giving out invitation 7 times and they have refused to come, honorable colleagues, we are running out of time. We have volumes of reports to consider. I do not, in all honesty, think we should continue to churn out letters, wasting our paper and ink and time. And for a proper conceptual understanding too, there are recommendations already contained in the report of the Auditor General. What we just do in this committee is to serve as an arbiter where we give benefit of the doubt and right to reply or fair hearing to these MDAs. We have done that 7 times, including in December, issuing a press statement to ask that they be defunded from the federal allocation. So, honorable colleagues, I want us to start with the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment. I want to have your opinion, position, so that we can reach a resolution and move on to other issues. Thank you very much.
Is the law that guides all ministries, departments, and agencies. This committee, as a constitutional committee, has the task to review all activities of MDAs. And on this note, since they believe they are not under the Constitution of Nigeria, the only option we have is that the relevant anti-corruption agencies take charge and the CEOs, heads of those agencies are invited to explain their infractions. Thank you.
On the Ministry of Labor and Productivity, I'm a bit worried about that particular ministry because the Minister for State of that particular ministry is our former colleague. And she knows that the implication of not honoring the invitation of the Public Account Committee or the Parliament, knowing the fact that we have the power under the Nigerian Constitution under Section 88 and 89, which give us the power to investigate any fund appropriated to any MDAs or ministry. So in that, for me, I don't know, I'm really worried because our former colleague is involved. So, Chairman.
Honorable colleague, the good thing about that is that the minister is 7 times means we have written quarterfinal,
I'm sorry, my colleague raised an issue here. I don't institution of the government by the Constitution. And I think we should tread along that way of authority. This assembly have its authority and we should enforce it. Whoever is there let them respond based on the Constitution. Least we breach our rules by thinking we know anybody there or somebody there was our colleague. So I think we should handle this based on the rules of law.
Thank you very much, Honorable colleague. Honorable colleagues, its wisdom just decided that it will not be very neat for the Auditor General to be the alpha and the omega on this matter. That's why the Constitution says he must submit the report to the National Assembly, which refers it to the Public Account Committee, which is constitutional. And the recommendations are there, and whenever the Auditor General makes those recommendations, he cites the relevant sections or paragraphs or the financial regulation or any other law that has been violated. So I'll just put the question, honorable colleagues, so that we can move on. If the decision of this committee is that the Auditor General's query issued against the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment for the year ended 31 December 2020 on 17 major heads be sustained as presented by the Auditor General. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. By this implication, we sustain all the recommendations of the Auditor General and direct the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission to invite the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Labor and Employment for the year 2015-2019, Mr. William Nwankwo, and the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Yerima Peter Tarfa, 2020-2021, to answer questions on the expenditure of the various sums of money, totaling almost 10 billion naira, which the Auditor General found against the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment in those years. Honorable colleagues, that's for the 2020 Auditor General's report. Now there is a 2021 Auditor General's report which also contains audit queries against the ministry. But for the purpose of giving them a long rope to pull, as they say, we have only written once on issues that maybe we give the current Permanent Secretary a definite timeline to make appearance from 2021, or we apply the same measure that we adopted on 2020 to those matters. I need honorable members' comment on that, please. Honorable Akiba.
Chairman of Committee, the Swiss colleague. Chairman, listened to you and having also been aware of what you have just said, because as a member of the committee, I'm aware of all of that. I'm of the opinion that the ministry should be written to for 2021. I'm of the opinion that it should be written again to for 2021. Because even with
how many, what kind of time frame?
It should be. We've written to them once that they have not caused appearance. They've not. So I am thinking that we should write to them again, re-inviting them again to, cause an appearance on 2021 query. I still submit. Thank you.
I think, in my own opinion, this same ministry have received the letters for the 2020, and now that 7 times, and now that we have written for 2021, one time, we should give them 72 hours to be here in appearance before this committee to defend this, the infractions and questions against them. I so submit, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Honorable colleague, there's a suggestion that we should ask that the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Employment, Mr. Dr. Saliu A. Usman, be given 72 hours to cause appearance before this Constitutional Committee to defend the audit query for 2021. And also, in context, they have 7 major queries for 2021. Including improper classification of revenue, under deduction of withholding tax, unauthorized conversion of government properties to personal use, circumvention of procurement procedures, splitting of advances to circumvent approval threshold of the permanent secretary, as well as engagement of external solicitors without approval of the Office of the Attorney General for the Federation. These are some of the issues contained in 2021, just to put it in context. So if it is the opinion of the House that Dr. Sali Usman, current Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Employment, be given 72 hours to cause appearance to defend 2021 audit query, those in favor should say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. By this resolution, the opportunity for fair hearing to the current Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Employment, to defend 7 major audit queries raised by the General for the Federation against his office in the 2021 audit report. Honorable colleagues, the other ministry to which I also is the Federal Ministry of Transport, that is also meant to appear today. The Federal Ministry of Transport is meant to appear today on the 2021 Auditor General's reports, where they have 5 audit queries. The first one is the failure to provide relevant records for the audit of personnel, which cost 1 billion naira. The Auditor General found out that the ministry expended its own 1 billion naira on audit of personnel and did not provide record to justify the expenditure. The second one is that the ministry transferred a sum of 400 million naira to Nexim Bank without lawful reasons and without supporting documents, 400 million naira. The third one alleges that there is a payment for training without supporting documents, totaling about 900 million naira. Payment for overseas trip without approval, 68 million naira, as well as award of contract without due process. Those are the 5 issues which the Auditor General has cited against the Federal Ministry of Transport in 2021. The ministry has been written twice to come and defend, and they have not made appearance nor sent in any justification. Honorable colleague, I want the committee to take a decision on this, please. Barrister.
Thank you, Chairman. My name remains Honorable Constituency. Mr. Chairman, I'm from Imo State. Chairman, I know that when the President presented his budget, he emphasized that ministries and parastatals should always respond to invitations by the House. It seems that when first, second, and third invitations are sent and they are either grossly neglected or no attention is paid to them, it seems that not only are they violating the rules as set out in the order book and in the Constitution, they are also disobeying the President. Therefore, Chairman, I move that the Ministry of Transport and whoever are the people responsible for their management be summoned before the House Committee on Public Accounts to answer to the queries and show cause why the queries should not be held against them.
Should we adopt the same 72 hours that we gave someone earlier on?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I
somebody
move
please
for
move, please. Yes, Honorable Toke.
Since the entire people of Owerri North, Owerri West, Owerri Municipal Federal Constituency, I am an Owerri man from Imo State. Mr. Chairman, I think we need to toe the same line. Taking into consideration that we're giving this invitation twice, Mr. Chairman, I move that we... Mr. Chairman, I move that we give them 72 hours to appear before this committee. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Colleague, before I ask for a second, I just want to also, so that we can save a little time, so that we can treat like matters in like manner. This same issue affecting the Federal Ministry of Transport also affects the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs. The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs has 5 audit queries. Payment without relevant supporting document, 222,207,000. Payment for foreign travels without approval, 15.2 million naira. Cash advances above approved threshold, 9,523,500 naira. Circumvention of procurement procedures and granting of cash advances above threshold, 281,885,800 naira, as well as unretired cash advances of 216,541,000 naira. That's the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs. And the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, 6 queries. And I want to quickly just read them out. Payment of programs not executed on homegrown school feeding program, 2,617,090, 2,617,090,786 naira. Donations without supporting document to the tune of 39.5 million naira. Unjustified payment to contractors, 287,628,300 naira. Irregular payment of stipend to N-Power beneficiaries, batch C, 54 billion 630 million naira. Emergency procurement without retrospective approval, 78.3 million. And irregular payment to independent monitors of the National Social Investment Program of 400 million naira. These are the 6 issues that have to do. So I would just want to ask whether we can take the 3 together and extend the same further invitation, albeit an ultimatum, to the 3 permanent secretaries. Is that carried? All right. Honorable colleagues, so those in favor of the motion that the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Transport, Dr. Mr. Adeleye Adeoye Ayodeji, the Federal Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Dr. Miriam Keshiro, and the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Yakubu Adam Kofar Mata, be given 72 hours to make appearance before this constitutional committee. Otherwise, we adopt the recommendation of the General for the Federation. Those in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. By this resolution, we are extending the benefit of the doubt and further opportunity for fair hearing to these 3 accounting officers of the Federal Ministries of Transport, Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, and Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation to appear before this committee within 72 hours. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and uphold all the recommendations of the Auditor General for the Federation contained in this very important document. Thank you. Before the 2022 Auditor General's report comes in the month of April, May, as promised by the Auditor General, we complete consideration of 2020 and 2021. And you will recall, for those who were opportune to go on some of these foreign trips with us, when we went to Rwanda, Ghana, and Nairobi, you know, we felt a little bit embarrassed that Nigeria, which is the biggest economy in Africa, one of the most populous countries in the world, is the one that is lagging behind in the constitution of the General's report. Some of those countries were already doing 2024. They were doing 2023, 2024. We are still doing 2020 and 2021. And these are the things that cause all this. When MDAs refuse to honor invitation, they refuse to submit documents. We can't, you know, conjure documents or answers for them. And I'm very sure that by the time we take this route now, probably to be a wake-up call for them. Tomorrow is another day. We have about 4 or 5 other agencies we're expecting tomorrow. Honorable colleague, we can have a motion for adjournment. Okay, I just wanted to announce that tomorrow, just in case anybody knows anyone there who needs to know that they have an appearance tomorrow. Okay, the Federal Ministry of Youth Development, Standard Organization of Nigeria, National Insurance Commission, NICOM, Ministry of Interior, and the Nigeria Immigration Service. These are the organizations expected tomorrow, and we do hope that they will honor the invitation. The letters have been sent out for quite a long time, some 2-3 weeks ago. Thank you very much. Motion for adjournment, please. Yes, Honorable Akios.
I represent the industrious people of Ado-Uduota Federal Constituency and from Ogun State. I hereby move that this committee this committee adjourned till tomorrow, 11th of February, 2025, at 11 o'clock. I so move.
Just a moment. 1 p.m.
This committee adjourned till tomorrow, 11th February, 2025, at 1 p.m. I so move, sir.
Thank you very much. Any seconder to this motion, please, Honorable Tochukwu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name still remains Honorable Satochukwu Chinedu-Okere. I represent the entire people of Owerri North, Owerri West, Owerri Municipal Federal Constituency. I am from Imo State. Mr. Chairman, I support the motion ably moved by my friend and colleague, Engineer Kiosi. I so support.
Those in favor of the motion for adjournment say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Meeting adjourned till 1 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you, honorable colleagues.